is joining us from our D.C. bureau this morning. Former chief speechwriter for President Bush, and he's the author of Courting Disaster. Mark Thiessen. Good morning to you, Mark.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. It's important to point out something from your Washington Post article earlier this week, and you said that CIA interrogators would ask detainees questions the interrogators already knew the answers to. Why?
Well, this is the myth about the interrogation techniques. You know, the critics of this program are just twisting themselves in knots, trying to deny that the CIA interrogations had anything to do with the bin Laden operation. They've sort of become like the new birthers. No matter how much evidence is put out there, they won't accept the truth. The fact is, one of the things they say is, well, KSM and these other detainees didn't give us the information while they were being waterboarded. They gave it to us later on during standard interrogation. Well, that's not how interrogations worked. Enhanced interrogations were never used to get intelligence. They were used to get cooperation. They were used to take a detainee who was in a state of total resistance and move him to a state where he was cooperating. And so what they would do is they would ask questions they already knew the answers to find out when the detainee had stopped lying and made the decision to cooperate. And then once that happened, the technique stopped, and it was standard interrogation the way the FBI would interrogate somebody. And they got incredible amounts of information once these detainees became cooperative.
I think very few people know that. Now, you say no matter how much evidence is unearthed, what evidence is there to make it clear that enhanced interrogation techniques, waterboarding, led us to Osama bin Laden?
Well, first of all, we have the testimony in the past week of everybody who's been involved in the program, from former CIA Director Mike Hayden, Counterterrorism Chief Jose Rodriguez, former Attorney General Michael Mukasey, former National Security Advisor Steve Hadley, even Leon Panetta, the current director of the CIA, says that information from these detainees helped in the search for bin Laden. What they did was it led us to the courier. And it was without the courier we would have never found where the bin Laden lair. So the evidence is overwhelming. And then on top of that, in 2009, the Obama administration released hundreds of pages, declassified documents detailing the effectiveness of this program. And it's like, you know, they've become like the birthers. You know, at least Donald Trump accepts the birth certificate as real. These people will not accept, no matter how much evidence you put out there, that CIA interrogations worked.
Yet the investigation into our own CIA interrogators is still open today. Is there any chance, with an election 18 months away, that President Obama has his Attorney General continue along those lines? We have to view this all through a political spectrum. Does Eric Holder have any chance but to drop this investigation?
It's entirely in his decision. Look, in a normal world, the people who gave us the key intelligence that led us to Osama bin Laden would get medals. In this administration, they've been given subpoenas. Eric Holder reopened investigations that had been closed during the Bush administration. Back in the Bush administration, the Inspector General of the CIA did an investigation of the program, presented his information to career prosecutors, not Bush administration officials, career prosecutors, who declined to prosecute these guys. And Eric Holder reopened those investigations, he admitted, without even reading their memos, explaining why they declined to prosecute.
That would be a costly investigation for his president to continue with, considering what we just accomplished. Mark Thiessen, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up, people across America celebrating in the